I'm Doug from Global West. Thought I'd take a minute here to talk to you about these control arms here we have on the table. This happens to be a drag race lower control arm for 1970 through 81 Camaro and Firebird. It's our TLC series. In fact, the part number is a TLC 71L. Now this particular control arm is designed to be for a coil spring application, a standard coil spring, non-coilover. Let me show you some of the features about this arm. First of all, we have special bushings. Now these aren't our normal Delaline bushings. These are a bushing we designed specifically for drag racing. These bushings allow the arm to fall when it's bolted to the frame. It also has provisions so that it doesn't allow the control arm to move fore and aft, so you're not getting this deflection. A lot of times in the past, a lot of guys would take their stock bushings and some other bushings, if you will, and they'd run the bolts loose in order to make that control arm fall for when they launch the car. Well, what that does is when you're running a control arm loose like that, yeah, the arm falls, but what happens is you're going to get some deflection out here. Now this is a little bit exaggerated, but basically that's what's happening. Where with our particular bushing, full torque, arms fall, you don't have that deflection going on. Another benefit, these bump stops. Now this particular bump stop here, this is a rising rate bump stop. Rather than a lot of the bump stops that are available for tubular control arms, when they bottom out and they hit the frame, it really goes solid. Well, our particular bump stop actually builds in rate. So for every quarter of an inch, we're actually increasing resistance by 100 foot-pounds. It's really pretty dramatic. So when the arm comes up to the frame and contacts it, it's going to compress rather than go solid. It's still going to allow some movement, and then you're going to roll off of it. So it's a much better way of landing the car, especially for wheel standiness. It'll absorb a lot of that impact. And of course, being a tubular arm, it's going to be stronger than the stamped steel anyway. Ball joints are included, of course, pre-assembled just like you see here. And one of the other features we have here is this rotating spring pocket. This spring pocket has got inside here, you probably can't see it, but it's designed to follow the contour of the coil spring. Well, in a drag application, a lot of the springs that you buy, they're a real soft rate, of course, and what happens is you end up having to trim the coil spring in order to get your ride height. And a lot of times you're going to lose your index. So you index the coil spring in the frame up at the top, and then because this pocket here rotates, all you have to do is rotate the pocket to where the end of the spring is, put it down into it, and you're indexed ready to go. Now you're probably asking, okay, well, what's going on with these pins up here? Well, from 1970 through 81, there are two different frames that are particularly used. 70 through 73 all take half-inch bolts on the lower control arm, and in 1974 they switched to 9/16. So the 9/16 is from 74 through 1981. Now, the geometry on the lower control arm is the same through all those years. All it was in the day was they were changing bushings and they changed bolt sizes. So, in our kits, we automatically give you the other size pins. Now, on this particular display here, these arms have 9/16 bolts. So if you had a 72, for example, and you wanted to put these arms on, you would push this pin out, grab the half-inch pin here, slide it in, take its place, and you're ready to go. The part number for this is a TLC 71L. They're designed specifically for drag racing. One other thing I should tell you is there's a lot of guys ask us, well, can I run these on the street? Yes, you can. But here's something that you need to know. All of our TLC lower control arms do not have sway bar attachments. Drag cars don't run from sway bars. So there's no attachments on this arm whatsoever for a sway bar for on the street. Now a lot of guys are running drag cars on the street. Fine, not a problem. But if yours is a street car and you're looking for something that does this type of function, then you would look at our other control arms, which is a CTA 71L, not a TLC. So TLC 71L drag race. This arm is excellent for your application. You get rid of the deflection, stabilizes the front end. Definitely a hot setup.